So number one issue is the name didn't match on the petition and response, or the addresses didn't match. They put Gardena on one and Los Angeles on the other. The other issue is the petitioner did not request to terminate spouse support to the petitioner himself and didn't specify if it's a dissolution of marriage or legal dissolution of or dissolution of domestic partnership on the petition. So on the petition itself, it says petitioner requests dissolution of, and there's boxes, uh, dissolution of marriage, dissolution of domestic partnership. Totally blank, left that blank. Then on the spouse support request, he marked terminate to respondent, but not terminate to petitioner. So there's three issues right out the gate. And these were all, the reject was interesting. I had to read the reject letter 3 times to realize like what was going on. I'm like, the address is incorrect. The missing information, and the court didn't even flag the spouse support issue or the fact that he didn't mark dissolution of marriage. Yeah, they were just knew that this case was so messed up he was going to have to amend his petition anyways. They didn't go to the trouble of even bringing that up. So here's what I wrote. So 99% chance I'll have to refile your summons and petition and reserve and submit the judgment. Not a big deal, just adds 30 days to the process. So because the spouse had already been served, if everything was correct in the summons and petition, we could have just went in, prepared the judgment and e-filed it, and the 31 days were obviously passed by several years, and the divorce would be approved as soon as the court approved it. But because if we have to amend it, I'm going to tell you why, because we haven't done that yet. If we have to amend it and refile it, it has to be then reserved, and then we have to wait the 31 days for the response to be quote unquote filed, which we're not going to respond. We're not going to file the response, but just to give that opportunity, the court still requires that 31 days to go by again, even though they're amicable. But here's what I said. But what I want to do first is try to sneak this in as a default without an agreement and see if they will let it slide. I'm going to draft a declaration clarifying that the addresses on the summons and petition are essentially the same. And then on the spouse support issue, see if they will allow us to terminate to you, even though you didn't check it off. They may allow it because it has to do with you and not the respondent. And if you didn't check it off, we'd have to amend for sure. So I'm going to send you some documents to sign, whatever. So I don't generally do default without agreement unless it has the following conditions. The petition was filed correctly. All the boxes were checked correctly. You mark terminate to both. It's a short-term marriage. There's a lot of things that go into it being a default without an agreement because there's so many rules. But there's no assets or debts. You marked that correctly. If there was errors on the petition, had those been correct, I could have submitted the judgment for a default without agreement, and it would already have been approved probably by what's Monday going on close to 5 would have been approved. So what I did was tried to explain to the court what is going on. I didn't bring up the issue about it not saying dissolution of marriage. I didn't bring up that he didn't mark terminate spouse support to himself. All could be possible issues for the court to reject the judgment, but they hadn't indicated that on the reject sheet. So what I did is as I mentioned, I drafted a declaration to the court, submitted the default judgment package and said, this declaration is being made to clarify the addresses on the summons and petition to indicate that Gardena, quote unquote, is also the same as Los Angeles. So I want the court should reflect that the addresses are correct and that everything else should follow through on that, and that we will use the city of Los Angeles moving forward on all future documents. So that is all matches. And that's how I did that. I also went in to clarify, again, didn't address the spouse support issue, didn't address the part where he didn't mark dissolution of marriage to see if that part will slide. And I'm hoping that will go through because everything else was kind of cascading off of that being wrong. The proof of service got rejected because the address no longer matched the summons and petition because the summons and petition address. So you could see it was a complete mess. I cleared all that up. I'm hoping the court lets this slide with this declaration just so they can go, okay, I can buy that, and they approve the judgment. I wanted to put this through first. It's going to take a couple of days to, the court's going to have to read the rationale and the declaration I drafted for them. Again, I think they're going to reject it. I'm hoping they approve it. There's like a 1% chance because this would save them from us having to refile, reserve, and wait another 31 days. It'd be nice. And I always do that for our clients. The most expedient way I can get your divorce finalized, I'm going to try that first because we are with LA. This is an LA County case and I'll get a response in a day or two. I did this. If this was any other county where I couldn't e-file, I probably wouldn't take the chance on doing this because in an attempt to speed this up, if I did that and then it said, say, went to Alameda, Sacramento, San Francisco, San Diego, Riverside, it doesn't matter, San Bernardino. it's going to be a 2 to 3 month review process. So I wouldn't want to then, roll the dice, turn in this judgment, and then 3 months later it gets rejected and they say amend the petition. I probably would have just amended the petition to begin with if I was unable to e-file it and get an immediate response. So I'll report back to you. I filed this on Saturday, so they got it first thing Monday. I think because of the declaration, has to go to probably the judicial assistant that works for the judge to read that and maybe tap the judge on the shoulder and say, hey, what do you think? We let this slide, or we're going to make them amend it. So we'll see, and I'll let you know. But 2021 divorce case, this guy would have never gotten this through. I was like, what did you do here? This is crazy. Never saw it happen. But we'll get it fixed one way or another. And that's what I told him.